Patrick McDevitt, um, had an incident at the PATCO, which had been using for over 20 years, whereas there's an obstruction in the sidewalk. And unfortunately, I found it and fell and did damage to my shoulder and my knee, frankly. So I got to my office. I work in Philly at the Wanamaker building, actually. And by the time I got to the office, the more and more I thought about it, I thought, this isn't right, because it was an obstruction that should have been taken care of. And then the thought crossed my mind that, maybe I should give Dave's Kabasian's office a call. And I did. And I spoke to Dave's staff, and in particular, Michelle. And Michelle asked me the pertinent questions, where it happened, and advised me to please take a picture of the obstruction when I returned from my office, okay, which I did. Interesting is that PATCO had put a couple cones up around the obstruction, and frankly, the cones were actually not placed properly, in my opinion, okay, because I would think that it's still an obstruction and people, okay, could still walk over it. And then the next morning, I reported back to Dave's office that the obstruction was gone. Now, what Michelle had said to me, and very responsive, was that she had contacted PATCO, and PATCO basically stated that we have many cameras, so you need to tell us which camera, which is, kind of ridiculous, since, okay, I know Michelle stated, okay, it was as he was entering, okay, the PATCO station, so that limits the number of cameras involved, but that's fine, okay, and when I came the next morning, the obstruction was gone. I made sure Michelle was aware, and Michelle contacted PATCO, and PATCO again pushed back, which camera, and her retort was spot on. That is, well, you put a work order in to get them removed, so I think okay, where the obstruction was, and oh, by the way, please save the video as evidence, which is apparently a legal thing you need to do. Otherwise, the video would have just wrapped, and we would have lost it. And after that, I was advised by Dave and his staff, okay, to follow a certain procedure to rectify the injury. One of them is to get physical therapy, to contact I guess it would be an orthopedic surgeon, which I did. And then I actually didn't have a good experience with that surgeon, and reported that back to Dave and his staff, and immediately they advised me to another surgeon, and which was, she was great, frankly. So I got it looked at, did my PT up front, and the orthopedic surgeon recommended surgery. And so I had surgery on my right knee to correct, and I had a torn ligament, as it turns out. And then continued with PT, okay, per the recommendation and the logic, okay, in regards to handling an injury. And I guess I didn't realize, okay, it takes time to get these things, okay, settled. And Dave's staff was very responsive in keeping me informed in regards to what the status of the case was. And here I am, okay, I think it's been 28 months now since the original injury, and we have settled. The settlement was far beyond what I expected, and ironically, far beyond what my wife expected, so we would argue about that. And not only that, Dave's staff did their due diligence in regards to what I refer to as the medical crawlback, and actually got that reduced as well. And again, Dave and Dave's staff didn't settle with PATCO with the first offer. Okay, they negotiated, and again, I couldn't be more pleased, okay, with the settlement and actually how business was conducted, okay, with Dave's staff. So, not that I'm going to look for another injury, but however, okay, if I ever get injured again, and I know that there's liability, I certainly will call Dave, okay, and converse with him. And the great thing about talking to Dave is that he'll be straight up with you, okay, and tell you, okay, whether he thinks you have a case or not, which is really what you need, okay. You really don't want a lawyer to kind of pull you along, okay, when there is actually no case. So being very direct, okay, to me is something I am, and when I do my business, and I'm an enterprise architect for Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and I'm always very direct because, frankly, being very direct, okay, always works out in the end. And so I guess the bottom line for me is that Dave's law business and his staff are A+. And frankly, again, okay, I will always think about Dave and his staff, okay, if I ever come across a situation, okay, like I did with Paco. So very happy. Thank you.